Please welcome the Chair of Conference, Glenys Wilmot, and the Platform Party.
Good morning, everyone. Firstly, can I apologise for the late start this morning, but it was due to the unprecedented number of delegates and visitors we have this year, which has got to be a good thing, hasn't it? And we wanted to make sure that as many delegates as possible could get their seats before we started, and we'll do what we can to resolve this situation for the remainder of the conference. Doors to Conference Centre open from 8 a.m. if you're all early birds. And the earlier you arrive, the easier it is. So, sorry once again. Welcome to the Labour Party Conference 2017. This year, as you can see, we've got record numbers of delegates. And whether this is your first time or you've been to conference many times before, I hope you have a really, really enjoyable week. I think it's going to be great. Conference, it's great to be back in the city of Brighton and Hove, where in June we had some of the best results in the general election. In Hove, Peter Kyle increased his majority from 1,836 to, wait for it, 18,757. And in Brighton Kemp Town, we turned a Conservative majority of 690 into a Labour one of 9,869. That's pretty damn good, I would say. So, to open our conference, please welcome the new MP for Brighton Kemp Town, Lloyd Russell Moyle.
Thank you. A little nervous. It's the first time I've spoken at conference. But it is a pleasure to welcome conference to my home city, a city now in the Premier League, and of course a city now with not one Tory MP. Comrades, if you had asked me a year ago if I would be standing here opening up conference as the MP for Brighton Kemp Town, I would have said to you, you've got to be joking. But over the last year or so, as a councillor, seeing the cuts really start to bite, seeing our local hospitals struggle, seeing people desperately struggling with housing and hearing the day-to-day concerns of parents fearing for their children's future, I knew a message of hope, a message for the many and not the few, could win. And conference, we did win. The first time since 1997 we overall gained seats from the Conservative Party. The first time we won seats in the South East like Canterbury with Rosie. And the first time we have come close to winning seats like Worthing East with Sophie just down the road from here. And what a campaign, comrades. And you know what? You did it. You, the members, knocking on millions of doors. You based in our workplaces and our communities, you talking on the phones and writing online. We showed them when we are united, when we go to the country with a purpose to change Britain for the better, we can win seats across our nations. So let this conference be a celebration of all the amazing activists, the campaign groups that campaigned and supported our CLPs, and of course, our fantastic leadership and that transformative manifesto, which showed that Britain doesn't have to be like this. It showed that things can be different and things will be different with Labour. But friends, also remember that the struggle carries on. We must not rest until we can get a Labour government with a socialist manifesto and with policies that will improve our country and millions around the world as well. Here in Brighton, we have a Labour Council next month opening up more council-owned and operated homes. We have trade unions campaigning against the exploitation of workers in the gig economy. And we have small businesses opening up to compete against the big brands. But this is a drop in the ocean without a Labour government. We must not rest until we have scrapped that public sector pay cap. We must not rest until we have put a stop to the housing crisis, and we must not rest until we have put a stop to the scourge of austerity, which targets the most vulnerable in our society. Conference, we must refocus and redouble our efforts on delivering a Labour government which can bring about the systemic changes that our community needs. So therefore, Conference, I hope you get time here to debate, to deliberate and to discuss issues and ideas, to even sometimes disagree democratically. And I hope you get time to enjoy our beautiful city. But behind those nice Regency houses and that glittering lights of the pier down the road, there are thousands of people who rely on us to work for them. I know you won't let them down. I know with Jeremy's leadership, with your hard work, with a unified, strong Labour movement, we can change Britain. We can create a new Britain that works for the many and not the few. Welcome to Brighton. Welcome to Conference. Thank you.
Conference, I'm honoured to welcome you to Labour's 2017 conference and to open proceedings on behalf of the National Executive Committee. And I would like to offer a particular welcome to new delegates, of whom this week there are more than 1,000. This is our biggest conference in years, and I know that delegates have come this week because they are driven by a desire to put things right for our country. I know that, like me, you see the devastation in our communities that has been wrought 7 years of Tory rule. And we all know that Labour offers hope to those who are suffering the most. Conference, it has been quite a year since we met in Liverpool 12 months ago. Another year of political upsets across the globe. We've witnessed Donald Trump taking the White House. And even worse, the sight of the British Prime Minister being the first to hold his hand. The two parties that have dominated French politics for decades, both kicked out of the presidential race. And of course, the big Labour upset of the last 12 months. Ed Balls dancing through 9 rounds of Strictly Come Dancing. But more seriously, the past year has shown that people are also ready for change and open to a message of hope. After years of planning her ascendancy, Marine Le Pen was resoundingly beaten by a political novice, and that's something to cheer. After years of being built up as a force in British politics, UKIP was resoundingly rejected by the British people. And of course, when the Tories called in the election, in the arrogant belief that they would become the dominant force in Westminster and the country, well, the great British public had other ideas. So while this unpredictable climate in which we find ourselves has thrown up some worrying and devastating twists in recent time, it also gives me hope. It gives me hope that anything can happen. It gives me hope that if we continue to fight and if we continue to be bold, our movement can change this country, change its direction, and change our government. Of course, only a few months ago we saw a glimpse of this when we were told Labour didn't stand a chance and were told Labour would be wiped out. And perhaps more importantly, when we were told young people don't vote or care about politics. But our movement beat the odds, and the young people in this country proved many wrong. There can be no doubt that new generations across Britain are motivated for change, determined to lead the way, and will not let their future be decided for them by other generations. The enthusiasm, the energy, the drive of young people throughout the country has and can further shape our political landscape. And of course, many of those young people saw our leader, Jeremy Corbyn, as someone in whom they could entrust their hope. While Theresa May stuck to a strong and stable script, Jeremy was out there talking to real people like a real human being. It's true, anybody who watched it could see it. And millions of people across the country saw what Labour had to offer, with Jeremy's manifesto offering an alternative to Tories' vision of Britain. A vision in which those in need get the help that they need. A vision in which government stands up for the rights of working people, not just the rights of big business. A vision in which Britain is a country that works in the interests of the many and not the few. So as we go into debates this week, let's not forget that's why we're here. And it's why I know that everyone in this room will leave Brighton reinvigorated and determined to go out there campaigning for Labour. I'd like to thank all of you and all of the Labour Party activists and members and supporters across the country who played their part in Labour's election campaign. This party's successes are built on your efforts. And while it isn't always glamorous, knocking on doors on a wet and windy evening, you can be proud that you've played your part. And as chair of the NEC, I'd also like to take just a moment to thank Labour Party staff. Their contribution often goes unremarked. But I've always been in awe of the professionalism and dedication that they show. Our organisers in key seats, our teams in nations and regions, and of course the staff working in our head offices in London and Newcastle. We all talk in the Labour Party about the importance of good employers, so we should take time to show our appreciation for our great staff as well. I'd also like us to take a moment to remember a great trade union friend and colleague who sadly passed away earlier this year. Mary Turner served for more than 20 years on Labour's NEC and gave her lifetime to the Labour movement. She had a reputation as someone who stood firmly by her beliefs, and she was never afraid to speak her mind. You know if you knew her. She meant what she said, and she said what she meant. She's missed by all of us, but her contribution to the Labour Party will never be forgotten. In our conference, looking back at the last 12 months, we should rightly celebrate the gains we made in the general election this year. But Labour's still in opposition in Westminster. Theresa May is still in Downing Street. Unbelievably, Boris Johnson is our Foreign Secretary. It is unbelievable, I know. Liam Fox, tasked with negotiating Britain's future trade deals. Our country's future's in the hands of David Davis. It feels like the cast of Dad's Army has been dropped into the set of Yes Minister. But sadly, this isn't a comedy. These are the people running our country at a time of great uncertainty, a time of great worry for many of the people we represent. This week, as we debate the various policy documents and motions before us, let's not forget what brought us together in the first place. Our values of tolerance, equality and social justice, our desire to give a voice to those ignored or taken for granted by this government, and our mission to be the party in power, not just in Westminster, but in Scotland and Wales, in local and regional government. I wish you all a good conference. Let's have 4 days of respectful discussion and debate. And then let's get on with the real work of delivering the Labour victories the British people so desperately need. Thank you very much. I've got to get to my seat quick, I forgot. Right. We've now got the Conference Arrangements Committee report. So each day we receive a report from the Conference Arrangements Committee on the timetable of debates and speeches and any other procedural issues. So to present the first report, please welcome the Chair of the Committee, Harry Donaldson.
Thanks, Chair. Morning, Conference. Again, it gives me great pleasure in welcoming you all to Brighton for this year's annual meeting of our party. We meet this year as a mass party of over 500,000 members. This is the biggest conference for many years, as Glynis has already indicated. And again, this is after a general election, which increased our share of the vote by more than any election since 1945. Conference, we meet here this week as a government in waiting, united and in permanent campaigning mode, ready to win the next general election whenever it comes. A government that will ensure, as has been said by a number of speakers already, that our economy will work for the many and not for the few. Conference has a busy fringe this year with over 400 fringe events taking place throughout the conference. The Fringe programme offers a huge range of debates and receptions, and I'm sure that everyone will find events of interest. This year our exhibition is full and has over 150 stands representing the third sector, leading businesses, unions and NGOs. To help delegates and visitors get the most out of their time at conference, the conference app is available for giving information about the venues, exhibition stands and fringe events, as well as conference agenda. Fringe information is also contained in the conference guide. CAC Report 1 was made available to all delegates and sets out the detailed agenda for today, as well as the broad timetable for the rest of the week. The CAC produces a daily written report with a detailed agenda of these. Again, and these will be handed to delegates as they enter the conference hall, in addition to being sent out by mail each morning. CAC reports are available to download from Membersnet, as well as being available in hard copy from the CAC office and the party stand. The leader's speech will take place on Wednesday at conference this year, and all delegates and ex officio members attending conference are entitled to receive a ticket to the speech. And a slight change to the details in the delegates' report, delegates are required to collect their tickets from the campaign shop, so I can only ask delegates to be early to do so. Delegates, here at conference in Brighton, we are shaping the Labour Party's direction for the coming year. You will see from the agenda for the week that the CAC has sought to maximise the time available for debate, both on the conference floor and through the policy seminars. that take place on Monday and Wednesday. Full details are provided in today's CAC report. Delegates and ex officio are given priority in policy seminars, but where space allows, member visitors are also entitled to attend. Anyone wishing to attend a policy seminar who is BSL user should contact the Disability Coordinator. Ballots taking place this week are detailed in the Delegates report and will be repeated in the CAC report for the relevant day. Today's ballot is the priorities ballot to determine which contemporary motions will be timetabled for debate during conference. The CAC received 185 contemporary motions and considered these against the criteria as set out in the Delegates report. 120 motions were considered contemporary and 5 were referred to the NEC. Those constituencies and organisations whose motions were not considered contemporary were given the right of appeal, and we thank the 10 constituencies who took up this opportunity. Today's ballot will decide which 8 of the 13 subject areas are debated at conference. The ballot opened at 10:30 a.m. and closes at 3 p.m. The 4 subject areas achieving the greatest percentage of votes in the affiliate sections and the 4 achieving the greatest percentage of votes in the CLP sections will be timetabled for debate by the CAC. Results will be announced at the conference hall at approximately 5:25 p.m. Composite meetings take place in the Hilton Hotel this evening. They will be arranged with a staggered start time, with the first meeting beginning at 6:30 p.m. this evening. Full details of these meetings will be announced by the Chair of Conference immediately after the announcement of the priorities ballot results. Delegates with motions in the priorities ballot should ensure that they make themselves aware of compensating arrangements should their motion succeed in the priorities ballot. Emergency motions will be considered by the CAC, and those that meet the criteria will be timetabled for debate. Following a rule change agreed last year, Conference now has the right to refer back part of any National Policy Forum policy document. The process for this is as set out and detailed in the CAC 1 report. On Monday, the ballot takes place to elect members of the National Executive Committee in Division 1 and 2. This ballot is open to trade union and socialist societies delegates and will take place between 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. On Tuesday, the ballot takes place to elect the CLP section of the National Constitutional Committee. This ballot opens to CLP delegates only and will take place between 9 a.m. and 5:30 p.m. On Tuesday, there will also be a card votes on the proposed rule changes. CLP rule changes were printed in the Delegates report. The NEC on the 19th September agreed additional rule changes which were printed in an addendum to the Delegates report and emailed to delegates on Friday of this last week for information. In addition, the NEC on the 22nd of September agreed to a review of party democracy, which was printed in an addendum to the NEC report and emailed again to delegates on Friday of last week for their information. All rule changes will be reprinted in the CAC reports on Tuesday morning for ease of reference to delegates. Yesterday, the National Women's Conference took place at the Hilton Hotel with over 1,000 women attending. And following a rule changes at annual conference in 2016, this year, for the first time, Women's Conference has a formal voice in Labour's policy-making process. A report back from the conference is contained in CAC 1, and a written report outlining the debates held at Women's Conference will be circulated after conference. Before I formally move the report, I wish to remind all attendees at conference that anyone wishing to enter the conference centre will need to be wearing a pass. This is also true of Conference Hotel. Everyone should allow sufficient time, as we can see by this morning, to enter the conference centre. All delegates and visitors are asked for their cooperation, and your patience really is greatly appreciated. As ever, we want everyone to have a safe and enjoyable conference. The police, party staff, security staff and Labour Party stewards will be working together to achieve that aim. Chair, I move my report.
Thank you, Harry. There's now an opportunity for anyone who wishes to raise any points or questions about the CAC report. Before you make your point, please tell us your name and the organisation from which you are a delegate. Then make your point briefly, please. If you try to make a speech, I will unfortunately have to stop you. Does anyone wish to raise any points? Yes, the delegate there. Come on. There's two. Yes, there's two of you. Come on. There's two people there I can see. Yes. Is there anybody else I've missed?
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, I'm going to be speaking about Sadiq Khan speaking later on in the conference. Yeah, I'm Morgan Hendy from Bristol West CLP. I'm first time to conference, so everything's new to me. Thank you. It's my first conference, but I've already just last night spoken to people who've gone for 20 years on the trot, and they also think that this conference is like nothing we've ever seen before. I know that this can only be a good thing. I know also that we need as a party to keep changing to stay relevant. It's fantastic that we've got CLPs sending their full delegations. I'm with Bristol West. We've sent 19 people in just one delegation. It's a record. It's a party record by far. It's a nightmare logistically, but it's great for participation. I want to see
Could you
conference...
make your point, please?
Okay, sorry. I want to see the conference double the size next year. Why is this relevant to Sadiq Khan? We need to use this resource, right? No offence, but we see him on TV all the time. I spend all my evenings stalking famous MPs and speakers in bars. I want you to give us some speaking time for members, for volunteers, for activists, for the people that got us so far in the general election, right? There's already a slot for city mayor on the agenda, but I want, as a minimum, a mayor from another core city that doesn't get much attention, but bears the brunt of Tory austerity. Bristol has to cut £110 million, and that's my libraries, that's our parks, our streets.
Colleague, I think you've made your point. You've made your point.
Right.
Thank you. Next
Thank
one.
you.
Chair Conference, Gary Heather from Islington North, and I've come up here to raise a point about the policy documents and the reference back section in this Conference Arrangement Committee report. Islington North are really pleased that this has been outlined by the CAC, but the point I'd like to make is that where it talks about the voting part, which is a paragraph in there, it's saying that any card vote that is needed where there is a discrepancy about what the actual hand vote might be, that will be called at the chair's discretion. The point I would like to make is that's on page 11, by the way. If you look at page 9, it's clear there that where it talks about card votes, it says that a card vote can either be called by delegates or by the chair. And the point I would like to make, Conference, is that has been the long-standing policy of this Labour Party conference, that delegates and the chair will both have the ability to call a card vote. And that is democracy. And what's good is that this party has already said that we're going to have a democracy review, and that we want the party to be more democratic and we want the conference to be more democratic. I would argue that we would go backwards if we only allow the chair's discretion on reference back decisions. So, So what I would call for is that can the CAC go away? And I would actually say that in order to stay in line with what they've outlined in previous years, that we stick with what we did. Okay, that was a good process. Delegates and the chair should be able to call a card vote in relation to reference
Thank
backs.
you, delegates. Next one.
Hello, conference. Hazel Malcolm Walker, Bournemouth West. Sorry for the sexy, husky voice. But anyway, I've got two little points to make. First of all, our motion on railways, particularly with regards to keeping the guard on the train, has not been prioritised. It's not going to the priorities ballot. I'd like that to be reconsidered, please, because it contains some important points on women's safety, disability rights, and also on workers' rights. The second thing that I'd like to raise, as somebody who came into conference today in a power scooter, getting through that gate was a total nightmare. There is a curb in front of the gates. It's impossible if you've got wheels, be it manual or powered. And I had to go all the way back round to the Grand Hotel in order to get a level access. Now, the point I'm trying to make is in previous conferences, there has been a dedicated wheelchair entrance. There doesn't appear to be one this year. Can we get it sorted, please?
Thank you, delegates.
Good morning, conference. My name is Tarek Chaudhry. I am from Ilford South. I have no question. I have two things to say, and I'll be brief. Congratulations to Conference Arrangement Committee, and also congratulations to our leader, Jeremy Corbyn, for bringing us at this stage, at this position after a snap election. This time last year, whoever the right-wing press never thought that we will be in this position today, what we are today.
I'm sorry, colleague, you can't make a speech. You've got to ask a question of the Conference Arrangements Committee.
Okay. My question is that we have seen many of these regulations and composite issues. One composite issue should be there that I personally don't think the trigger ballot issues for the councillors, which stops young voters, young Labour members participating open selection process. Because of trigger ballot in the parliamentary section, we stop newcomers in open selection process. The same thing that happened not last year, year before.
I'm sorry, this isn't about the report. It has to be a question to the report. This is not the time to make those points.
And this is my concern. Anyway, thank you so much, the Conference Arrangement Committee, and thank you all.
Morning, conference. Sam Wheeler, Manchester Gorton, CLP. First-time delegate from a CLP which has tripled in size over the last 2 years. I just had a couple of quick questions. On page 109 of the report, it does have a section for the City Mayor Speaker for 10 minutes. So just quickly to the CAC, how was it agreed that we would have a City Mayor Speaker for those 10 minutes? Has it been decided who that is? And if it has not been decided who that is, as I judge from the fact that there isn't a name attached to it, can we please have assurances? We are a party of the entirety of this country. We are not short of talent, whether it's Andy Burnham in Greater Manchester, whether it's Steve Rotherham in Merseyside, whether it's Marvin Rees down in Bristol. We are not short of great leaders in local government. And can I have assurances that the entire country, not just London, will be represented?
Thank you. You've asked a question.
Chair Conference, good morning. John Marr, Birkenhead CLP. I'd like to reiterate that and seek an assurance from the NEC that the newly elected Metro mayors will be given a chance to address conference. I think it's very important that we do have a voice from all parts of the country, and we heard from the London mayor last year you know, can we spread it around a bit and have a few northern voices addressing conference, please? Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate. Thank you. As a northern person myself, there's nothing wrong with northern voices. The next one, please. Next delegate. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Conference, Dave Allen from the United Delegation and Chair of Disability Labour. Harry, if you look at this hall, there's probably more people in here today than there were the last time we were here for the leader's speech. This is causing a major problem. Disabled people, I'm echoing Hazel's point, had difficulty getting into the auditorium this morning. Could you please go away and have the committee discuss with staff and stewards how we can make access easier for disabled comrades to get into the conference? Thank you.
Next delegate, please.
Conference, James Cudley from Wrexham CLP. Going back to the issue about Sadiq speaking, can we just say that he has the biggest personal mandate of anyone in the Labour Party? Last year, he pulled off a stunning victory in the London mayoral campaign. It's ridiculous to say that he should be blocked from speaking at this conference. Yes, we should have a mayor from Andy Burnham, Steve Rotherham, and across the country. We should be championing local government, and this is not the way to do it. We should have a spot for our mayors. So I'd urge the CAC to reject these calls to block our champions of local government from speaking at our conference.
Conference, whether you agree or not with a speaker, please be respectful on all sides, please. Yes, please.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you for your service on the NEC, Glynis. We really appreciate it. I would like to concur with my colleague who just spoke. I'm sorry, my name is Joanna Baxter. I'm from Cunningham North constituency Labour Party. The colleague who just spoke reminded us that our party is made up of many talents. Our city mayors, all of them, have unique talents, and we heard a suggestion earlier in the debate that we should hear only from mayors of cities that are affected by Tory austerity. All of our city mayors are affected by Tory austerity. And I would argue that Sadiq Khan, with the highest personal mandate of any of our elected politicians, should be heard by this conference on how we win and govern again across the United Kingdom. I would like to make just a second brief point, Glynis, on access to conference. A delegate raised issues about access to conference, and one thing that concerned me coming into the conference hall today was that access actually was being affected by protests outside our conference, calling for the expulsion of our General Secretary. He is a member of party staff, a worker with rights, and that protest should not be allowed at this conference, and party staff should be treated with the respect that they deserve and the respect that any worker that we fight for deserves. They have rights.
Thank you. Wait a minute. Conference. I think we've had enough speakers on the mayors. We've made our point on the mayors. So other points, please. This isn't a debate about, you know, just one issue. It's about everybody having their say on what they have a problem with on the CAC report. Please.
Thank you. Good morning, conference. I'm very excited to say this is also my first conference. My name is Jake Shepherd, and I'm from Harlow CLP. I would like to ask the CAC, I'm very glad that there is a motion on North Korea, but our CLP also submitted a contemporary motion which was struck down by the CAC. And I'd also like to pay tribute to Frank Jackson, who is a local member in our party, much more senior than I, but who has committed to the cause of nuclear disarmament and the UN treaty and stuff like that. So I would just like to ask, is it possible for your decision to be reconsidered, seeing as there is a category that's related to North Korea?
Thank you. Thank you. We've got the point. Thank you very much. Next delegate.
Good morning, conference. My name is Skeena from Stroud CLP. We've been called a mystery as we won our seat this election. Yes. I would like to ask Conference Committee about our motion because there is a crisis in child mental health and well-being in this country. There is a crisis. I cannot believe that there is only one motion dealing with education on our priorities list. It's quite shocking to me. Only children in Macedonia and Poland, according to the WHO report, are more unhappy than children in our own country. So if that's not a crisis, I don't know what is. I would like to appeal to the Conference Committee for our motion to be, we've also submitted an emergency motion, for our motion to be spoken about. We need to support our children who have suffered under decades of an education system that is clawing away at their mental health.
You're making a speech now. Thank you.
Thank you, Conference.
Hi, Conference. Graham Durham, Brent Central CLP. Not my first conference. I came once before in 1976. Dennis Healy was telling us, Chancellor, that we had to make cuts because the IMF had ordered us, remember, and he used the phrase tiny Chinese minds, which upset a lot of us. But, of course, he was wrong, and it's up to John MacDonald to make sure we don't do that. Yes, I'll make my points.
Yeah.
I wanted to support the fact, either we're going to have a party led by members, in which case we, the delegates elected, are going to decide if we want to refer things back, or we're going to have dictation by the top elements. And a lot of MPs, frankly, looking at the papers this morning, need to remind they're only one member of the Labour Party. So I support what Gary Heather was saying. We need to have the right to have a democratic conference. And as a London delegate, I don't care whether Sadiq Khan speaks or not. I think a party member should have the same right as anybody else to speak from here, never mind if they're mayors or MPs.
You've made your point. Thank you, delegate. Thank you. Thank you.
I make an exception for one MP, and that's Jeremy Corbyn.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, my name's Elaine Bewley. I'm from Brighton Pavilion. I'm speaking on behalf of all the hearing impaired people in this hall today. I'm very grateful there's a loop induction system, but I would ask Conference, could you please provide loop induction systems in all the breakout spaces and all the discussion groups. At the Labour Women's Conference yesterday, I really struggled in every debate that wasn't in the main hall to actually hear what's going on. Could you also please bear in mind that as Labour Party is unique in championing disabilities, particularly neurodiversity, and in this hall at the moment we have flash photography, which is incredibly difficult for people suffering from epilepsy, and I would please ask that you take note of that. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Right, I'm going to ask Harry Donaldson to reply to some of those points, Harry. Well, all of those points, actually.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair. Working in reverse order, I think, will be the easiest way to deal with this. I think in terms of the last point that was made there by Brighton and Pavilion, I think we take very seriously the comments that have been made. We will review and we will factor that into how we deal with issues going forward. In terms of Graham, I know he said it'd been 1976 since the last time he was here. Again, the issue is there, we've factored in more time available for delegates. We're very acutely aware of the time and the need for the opportunity for delegates to have the opportunity to come to Rossum, and that is a delegate conference. So we have factored that in this year in trying to achieve the balance of the rights of delegates, and again, in these situations. On the Stroud motion, in terms of child mental health, clearly we went through the process, the appeals procedure, and it certainly had not met the criteria that was sent out previously. However, I do note that there is an emergency being put in, so again that will be considered along with other emergencies on Monday when we go towards looking at that position. Jake and Harlow, again the issue of North Korea was a similar one, that one was appealed, and again we know the issue there. Again, it's not to say that CAC don't see these issues as very important. The whole issue is contemporary motions criteria, and unfortunately under the criteria, these were ruled out of competence. So in terms of Joan, again, the issue of speakers and city mayors, again, there was a number of these which we've certainly noted. And again, the issue is just to cover off the issues in terms of mayoral speaker. The issue was wanting assurances. Assurances going forward, was this not a platform to be created for one single mayor year on, year on? This would be on a basis of a moving situation where we would cover, you know, obviously the quality and the depth that we have out there in the cities and other areas. So this will be constantly under review and looked at, and that would cover hopefully these issues in terms of that. And I know that Sam had indicated it tripled in size. And again, the issue was it's quite clear there that how much of a delegate conference this now is and reflects back on that. So again, we would obviously work with the conference team in terms of looking at some of the issues that we've heard in terms of disabilities and the queuing, and there's some of the issues that people have seen obviously and experienced this morning. And again, it is not our intent to try and make the difficult to access conference, but quite the reverse. And again, we take very seriously our requirement to do that. And that's why as part of CAC, we allocate a CAC member to work with disabled labour to ensure that we can have this situation where we would reduce as far as possible the situations and make it obviously friendly for disabled colleagues and members to attend and participate. In terms of the situation on reference back, again the issue was there that a couple of these issues had certainly came up, and again we would agree with reference back on page 9 in terms of that would be the procedure that would be allocated and used in terms of that. And again we would see that that hopefully covers the issue in terms of the first person that come up in terms of a young member, and the issue about Sadiq Khan. And the issue was that a great deal of representation had been made, and it's CAC's responsibility to timetable conference. But again, the point is made, that is something that will be constantly renewed and refreshed going forward. So again, hopefully we've addressed the points that have been raised and that we can continue with conference on the basis of that. Thank you.
Thank you, Harry. Conference.
Hello, Tricia Clark, Islington North. Can the CAC please address the issue about the card votes and the delegate vote? Thank you.
Okay, just let me read this out first of all before we go to any votes. Conference. I want to explain the voting process. As you may know, voting at annual conference is calculated as an electoral college divided into two parts. The votes of delegates from affiliated organisations make up 50% of conference. The votes of delegates from CLPs make up the other 50%. This year, we have approximately 300 delegates of affiliated organisations making up 50% of the votes, and 1,200 delegates of CLPs making up the other 50%. You can see by that a show of hands may well be misleading. In view of that, what we are proposing is that if the initial show of hands is inconclusive, we will then take a separate show of hands, firstly CLP delegates, and then union and affiliated organisation delegates. If the result is still unclear, then we will move to a card vote. Now, I know that's quite complicated, but we have no choice in how we do it. Okay? So, we must now vote on the CAC report. Having listened to Harry's response on the points raised, can I see all those in favour of accepting the report? All those against? That's overwhelmingly carried, comrades, overwhelmingly carried. Thank you very much. Right, conference, it now gives me great pleasure to introduce three members whose outstanding contribution to the party we are recognising today through the presentation of a Merit Award. Our first Merit Award today is presented to Gaynor Davies and Ken Davies, who are members of, I think it's Presili, Pembrokeshire CLP. Gaynor and Ken come as a team and have been actively campaigning in Presili since moving there in 1997. Both have been campaign organisers. They've been active on the doorstep, phone canvassing and street stalls, not missing out on getting involved in any general election for 20 years. Both continuously campaigned and played a huge role in getting new people involved in the party. Gaynor and Ken, please come forward to accept your award. Gaynor and Ken. Thank you, Gaynor and Ken. Our next award is to Richard Crawley of Rushcliffe CLP. Richard is the linchpin of his CLP, having been secretary for around 30 years. I know this because it's my patch. Under his leadership, the local party has gone from strength to strength. Thanks to Richard's dedicated campaigning and organisation, the local party has fought winning campaigns as district and county council level with their best ever results in 2017. Richard, can you please come forward to accept your award? Congratulations to our award winners. Well done, everybody. Conference, over the last few weeks, we've seen all sorts of devastating effects of earthquakes and hurricanes, especially in countries of the Caribbean, in the United States and in Mexico. These are just the latest of many examples of extreme weather and other natural disasters which we've seen around the world over the last year. We also continue to see hundreds and thousands of victims of conflict and terrorism around the world. Those who've lost their homes and livelihoods, refugees, as well as those who have lost their lives and bereaved. We've seen our own country in Manchester and London and elsewhere during the last year. It's not been good. We will also wish to remember the victims of the fire in Grenfell Tower and other tragedies. Conference, I would ask you now to stand for a period of silence to remember all the victims of conflict and disaster in this country and parts of the world. Thank you, Conference. Conference, we've lost a number of valued colleagues over the last year. The names of some of them are listed on page 13 of the NEC annual report and in the Conference Arrangements Committee Report 1. There may be others who are known to you. Conference will celebrate the lives of our colleagues with applause. So please stand now to remember all those we've lost since we last met. Thank you. Thank you. All of those comrades have served this party well over many years. Thank you. Conference, I'd like now to introduce Cheryl Barrett, who will address on behalf of the Cooperative Party. Before we hear from Cheryl, we have a video.
"100 years ago, members of hundreds of cooperatives up and down our country came together for an emergency meeting here at Central Hall in Westminster. The world was a very different place then. We were in the midst of the greatest conflict the world had then seen. So the decision taken then by those visionary cooperators 100 years ago, not just to lobby, but also crucially to organise, was pivotal. As the chair of that first meeting said, there are things to safeguard, things to stand for, and things to achieve. That statement rings as true as ever today.
Thanks to the decision those cooperators took that day, things would change. A former shop assistant would become the first woman in history to serve in the cabinet and join the Privy Council. A blacksmith's son would lead the Royal Navy in Churchill's cabinet. The son of a gas soldier who lost an eye and a leg in the First World War would pass the world's first disability rights legislation. All of them cooperators who believed that if they wanted to change the world, their cooperative values had to extend beyond the shop front. All of them cooperators who travelled the sometimes difficult path into politics in order to defend and champion the cooperative values they held dear. All of them driven by the same idea that inspired a group of workers in Rochdale 150 years ago to create the world's first successful cooperative. That by working together and standing together, we can build better lives for ourselves and our communities. They, and the many others who followed, working with the Labour Party, fought for a Britain where power and wealth were more evenly shared.
The symbol of the beehive is as old as our cooperative movement. It reminds us that together we are powerful. It's stitched into our banners. It's etched into the story of our party. People are crying out for a movement that believes in sharing power and wealth. This is our time, and the Cooperative Party is ready, with more members than ever, and councillors and MPs up and down this great nation. So come with us on this exciting journey ahead, because together we can shape the future.
This is my second conference, and I'm speaking. And crying, that's lovely. I'm proud to bring fraternal greetings from your sister party, the Cooperative Party. In 3 weeks' time, we celebrate 100 years of promoting cooperatives and cooperation. Our two movements, the cooperative movement and the Labour movement, working together, build a fairer Britain in a fairer world. Our shared values of solidarity, equality and democracy, and our shared belief in the power of people to come together to make life better for themselves, their families, their communities, motivates us in tough times as well as good. Forget Theresa May and Donald Trump. It's us who have the special relationship that has potential to bring positive change. Our predecessors worked together to fight for some of the most important causes of the last century. The fight against fascism at home and abroad, the fight for universal suffrage and votes for women, the fight for health care, free at the point of need. And more recently, together, we've led the way in the fight for fair trade and tax justice. In elections at all levels of government, we've stood together since we signed that electoral pact and agreement in 1927 and never have we been more proud to stand shoulder to shoulder with Labour than in this year's snap general election. An election that the pundits and pollsters said would see our parties wiped out, but instead, a very different result. We had Labour and cooperative candidates winning in Plymouth, Stroud, Glasgow, and here in Brighton. All places which looked out of reach just 2 years ago. As a result, we're proud that the British people elected 38 Labour and cooperative MPs, the largest number in our 100-year history. And I want to take the opportunity, in particular, to thank one of our MPs, Gareth Thomas, the chair of the Co-op Party, for all he has done and will continue to do for the Cooperative Party and the wider movement. And it was great to see that despite Theresa May kicking off her campaign in Gareth's seat in Harrow, it was Gareth and his team that kicked the Tories out of Harrow, achieving a majority of over 13,000. A significant factor in our election success was undoubtedly the radical progressive manifesto Labour and Labour and cooperative candidates put before the electorate, having cooperative values running right through it, like Brighton Rock. A manifesto that offered a different kind of economy, one which works in the interests of people and not merely to generate short-term profits for an ever-decreasing pool of shareholders. A manifesto that offered an alternative to the current broken markets in transport, energy and water. A manifesto that would put power in the hands of the many, not the few. And for our cooperative movement, a commitment to work with us to double the size of the cooperative sector to more than 70 billion a year. This is arguably the most ambitious pledge the Labour Party has ever made to our movement, and we look forward to working with you in the months and years ahead to develop a practical plan to achieve it in power. 100 years ago, as you saw in the film, the Cooperative Party was formed by the Cooperative Congress, the governing body of the movement. In the preceding 3 years, the co-op movement had pressed for the introduction of rationing to ensure the fair distribution of limited supplies, opposed profiteering, and worked with trade unionists to protect workers as far as possible from the war's economic effects. Despite this, the cooperative movement found itself ignored, hampered, and discriminated against by government. In a state of crisis, the movement called an emergency conference in Westminster Central Hall. The transcript of that conference reveals the anger that was felt at the unfair way the movement was being treated. But more importantly, you sense the huge frustration at how this was limiting their ability to help ordinary people survive the effects of the worst conflict the world had ever seen. And while so much has changed in the last 100 years, at times the cooperative movement continues to feel frustrated that we have a government that too often overlooks the potential of cooperative ways of working to build a fairer economy and a fairer society. And so, as the Cooperative Party enters its second century, we're ready for the job ahead. We'll work with our elected representatives in Westminster, Cardiff Bay, Holyrood, and in town halls up and down Britain. We'll inspire, inform, and educate people about the power of cooperation and the contribution it can make, building stronger communities and a more equal world. We will work with you, our friends and partners in the Labour family, to elect an army of Labour and cooperative councillors in next year's local elections, and when the time comes, to elect Labour and cooperative government in Westminster. Thank you.
Thank you, Cheryl. I'm now going to hand the chair to Andy Fox. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And this is my first conference at chairing, so you'll just need to bear with me. And I also need to remind myself, just because I've got a microphone doesn't mean it's karaoke. So conference, we will now begin the debate on protecting communities. In the protecting communities debate, we will be covering a range of issues relating to building stronger, better communities, from police to justice, from transport to local government, housing and the environment. Our manifesto in June set out our radical plans to build better communities, and this debate will also include consideration of the following policy commissions, which are contained within the National Policy Forum report. Justice and Home Affairs on pages 59 to 67, Housing, Local Government and Transport on pages 43 to 50, Environment, Energy and Culture on pages 25 to 32. Our first speaker this year celebrates her 30th year in Parliament. In 1987, we saw 4 black MPs elected to Parliament, the first in the modern era, including Paul Boateng, Benny Grant and Keith Vaz. But today, I am now introducing our first black woman MP, Diane Abbott. Before being an MP, Diane was a civil servant at the Home Office and a campaigner for the National Council on Civil Liberties, 2 roles which set her up for her parliamentary career. Diane has for 30 years been a fighter in Parliament. She has been a consistent champion for minority communities and a long-standing defender of civil liberties and human rights. Earlier this month, we learnt that Diane received almost half of all abusive tweets sent to all candidates in the run-up to this year's election, which shows not only the scale of change we still need to achieve in society, but that in Diane, we truly do have someone with the strength to achieve that. She was once a junior staff member at the Home Office, but comrades, would you please put your hands together for Britain's first black woman MP and the next Home Secretary, Diane Abbott.
Good morning, conference. It's a pleasure and a privilege to address this conference as Shadow Home Secretary. But I would like to begin by thanking the members and supporters up and down the country and in this hall who helped to deliver the stunning advance in this year's general election, because you were the architects of our successes. And you were able to do this because you believed in our values, you believed in our manifesto, and above all, you believed in the Labour leadership. Many commentators did not foresee the general election result we had. Some even said we'd be annihilated. But today, The Labour Party is stronger than ever. We are still standing. I am still standing. But there's more to do. We have to get rid of this failing Tory government. We have to win the next general election, whenever it comes, and we will. The theme of this session is protecting our communities, and there is no greater responsibility for government than keeping the nation safe from the menace of terrorism. Tragically, last week, we saw the 5th terror incident this year at Parsons Green Tube Station. This comes after the terrorist atrocities at Westminster, the Manchester Arena, London Bridge, Borough Market and Finsbury Park. Looking back, we must pay tribute to the brave police officers, firefighters, NHS workers and transport police who ran towards danger and rose to the challenge of keeping us safe. Of course, the Tories have no respect for public sector workers, as their unfair public sector pay cap shows. But in its moments of greatest peril, the nation turns to its public sector workers. They should not be played off against each other. They should all be paid properly. And you cannot keep the nation secure on the cheap. Yet only on Friday, the chair of the National Police Chiefs Council warned that counter-terror funding to police forces will be cut by 7.2% over the next 3 years. And Home Office documents reveal that the budget for the Office for Security and Counter-Terrorism will fall by more than £50 million over the next 2 years. We oppose these cuts, and Labour will reverse them in government. And as part of combating terrorism effectively, Labour is committed to a thorough review of the prevent strand of counter-terrorism policy. Increasingly, there's a concern that prevent is a tainted brand and not fit for purpose. Trampling on our civil liberties will do the terrorists' work for them because what makes us free is what makes us safe, and what makes us safe is what will make us free. Another key aspect of protecting communities is policing. I have represented an inner-city community for over 30 years. I know it's the poor, women, and minorities who suffer most from crime. I have always taken fighting crime seriously, and I will continue to do so as Labour Home Secretary. And the reality of the Tory record on law and order is a long way from their rhetoric. Since 2010, Theresa May has been Home Secretary and now Prime Minister. But on her watch, the numbers of police officers has dropped by 20,000. 2.3 billion has been cut from police budgets. The truth is that austerity undermines policing and community safety in just the same way that it undermines our health service. We see the consequences of this around us with rising levels of homicide, knife and gun crime, and the police themselves are suffering from spiralling levels of overwork and stress. Labour in government will work to make communities safe, and we will recruit 10,000 new police officers working in the community. Another key aspect of protecting communities is keeping them safe from fire. Once again, this is something where this Tory government has let the people of this country down. And the extent of their failure is symbolised by the Grenfell fire. Who can forget those images of the Grenfell Tower ablaze? And this did not happen in a slum, in an impoverished country far away. It happened here in Britain, in one of the wealthiest areas of the country, in one of the richest countries of the world. And Tory-controlled Royal Borough of Kensington and Chelsea treated the residents of Grenfell like second-class citizens. And when the disaster struck, the Royal Borough's response was shameful. Even now, out of all the families made homeless, only a handful have been offered permanent homes. And this in a borough with over 2,000 empty properties. Am I the only person wondering why the commissioners aren't coming in and taking over the failing Royal Borough of Kensington and Chelsea? But Tory failure in relation to Grenfell goes further than the council. Events at Grenfell are also a direct consequence of deregulation of fire standards and inspection, privatisation and outsourcing. We demand justice for the Grenfell survivors. They will not be forgotten. We demand an immigration amnesty for all former Grenfell residents so they all feel able to come forward. Labour in government will recruit 3,000 additional firefighters, and we fully support the campaigning of the Fire Brigades Union against the cuts. We all saw the photographs of the brave, smoke-blackened firefighters insisting on going back into the fire to save lives. We relied on our fire brigade at Grenfell, and the fire brigade must be the lead agency for assessing risk, fire inspections, and proper sign-off of all major works and refurbishments. No more outsourcing to the private sector. But I cannot leave this subject without paying tribute to my colleague, Emma Dentcote, the MP for Kensington. As a new MP, she found herself having to deal with the national tragedy on the scale of Grenfell. She has offered love and leadership to her community in full measure, and Conference should applaud her. Emma has shown that Labour can make a difference everywhere and that Labour can win anywhere. We finally had an inquiry into the Hillsborough tragedy thanks to the tireless campaigning of the people of Liverpool with the support of my colleagues Andy Burnham and Steve Rotherham. But as Labour Home Secretary, I promise a full inquiry into Orgreave and an inquiry into the trials of the Shrewsbury 24 and an inquiry into what happened to the 37 Camel Laird workers. They all deserve justice. Another vital Home Affairs issue is immigration. Tory opportunism on immigration is a disgrace. They continue to talk about bogus immigration targets, which they have not met and will never meet. The Tories have weaponised immigration. They have been prepared to pander to anti-immigration sentiment, whatever the cost to the economy and communities. Many of you will have seen the Panorama programme, which revealed the brutal regime at Brook House Detention Centre. Labour will put an end to indefinite immigration detention. There are real labour market issues in relation to immigration, but the Labour Party, under the leadership of Jeremy Corbyn, will never scapegoat immigrants for these issues. Labour in government will work across departments to counter the effects of deregulation, liberalisation, and the weakening of trade union rights and freedoms. Far from immigrants being a drain on the public sector, the truth is that without immigrants and the children of immigrants, we would not have the National Health Service we have today. And of course, EU citizens in this country also play a vital role in the economy. The willingness of Theresa May to use them as bargaining chips in her negotiations is shameful. We will guarantee the rights of EU nationals living in this country. It is vital for our economy, and it is the right thing to do. I have visited refugee camps in Calais, in Greece, in Lebanon, and seen the pitiful conditions in which many refugees live. And even in Britain, the current arrangements for housing refugees are not fit for purpose. They're not fair to the refugees, and they're not fair to our communities. We will review these arrangements. Labour, under the leadership of Jeremy Corbyn, will fulfil its responsibilities to refugees, in particular child refugees. Parliament passed the Dubs Amendment, and we will implement it fully. The watchword for our approach to immigration and government will be fairness and the reasonable management of migration. But, as the child of migrants, Conference must believe me when I say that under Jeremy Corbyn's leadership, immigration policy will always be shaped by enduring Labour values. And in closing, I want to thank my new Home Affairs team, Eleanor Smith, my PPS, Nick Thomas-Simmons, Shadow Security Minister, Chris Williamson, Shadow Fire Minister, Afzal Khan, Shadow Immigration Minister, and Louise Haigh, Shadow Police and Crime Minister. This is my top team. And finally, Conference, let me say this. My mother came to this country in the 1950s as a pupil nurse. She could never have believed that her daughter would stand before you as Shadow Home Secretary. And you know, what makes the Labour Party special? What makes the Labour Party one of the leading progressive parties in Europe is not just that we will manage this country and run this country better than the Conservative Party, because politics is not just about management. What makes the Labour Party special is that we have always been the party which works to help people fulfil their aspirations and dreams for themselves and their children. It is that message of hope that helped us achieve the amazing results we achieved in the last general election. And it is that message of hope which will help us win the coming general election and put Jeremy Corbyn into number 10.
Thank you, Diane. Conference, we have time for 3 speakers before lunch, and this debate will continue after lunch. There will be plenty of time for many more speakers. I will call speakers in threes. If you are called to speak, then you will first need to register at the front desk, which is here. And when you speak, please start by saying what your name is and which constituency or affiliated organisation you represent. You can speak for up to 3 minutes, and the screens by the lectern will show you the time you have left. Can I see all those wishing to speak? Sorry, I need to put my glasses on so I can look at you. The lady there in the red. The lady with the glasses. Over there. Yep. And the guy from up the top. Where is he? Here somewhere. Is that no? And the gentleman there in the mustard. I don't know. Oh.
The first speaker's just coming up.
Can I ask you all to take your seats and be quiet, please? The first speaker's about to begin.
Okay, this is my first conference, so hello conference. I'm Julie Reynard, I'm from the New Forest East constituency. New Forest East is a lovely place to live. Well, it is if you're rich. 80% of the constituency is national park and one of the most expensive places in the country to live. The rest is an area known as Totton and the Waterside. 3/4 of the population live here. We have poverty and homelessness. Our food banks expect to give out 6,000 food parcels this coming year. On our district council waiting list, there are over 3,000 households. They are proposing to build just 55 homes. Hampshire Hampshire County Council is threatening to make huge cuts to jobs and services, including cuts to charitable organisations like one based in Totham that helps homeless young people, like Gary, who is one of many living in makeshift tents in the forest. On one visit to the charity to collect a food bank voucher and have a shower, he removed his boots to find that his feet were black, swollen and infected. He had trench foot, a condition suffered by soldiers in the Great War. And Ruby, a sofa surfer. She hates sleeping rough, so each night she tries to find a sofa at a friend's house or anywhere, if necessary. She is constantly sexually abused and has been raped 3 times. And James, who suffers with mental health problems and lives in a car. Recently, he was arrested for threatening behaviour and taken to Winchester Prison. He is locked in a single cell for almost 24 hours a day without company, counselling and inadequate food. Every constituency has its horror stories, but for those of us who live in Tory heartlands, we have no power. We have no district councillors, just 2 county councillors, and the present Tory MP has been sitting in his ivory tower for the past 20 years. But now we have Jeremy, who has activated the hopes and inspired millions of us throughout the nation. So we have to keep on door knocking. We have to end the poverty. We have to form the next government, and soon. The alternative is too awful to even imagine. Thank you.
Hello, conference. My name's Daniel Harris and I represent the Hove CLP. I'm a care leaver. I was in care and up until a couple of years ago, I was homeless. I became homeless after having a mental health breakdown. In Brighton and Hove, we've got over 2,200 people today living in emergency and temporary accommodation. Now, in our city, we don't have in-house, local authority-owned emergency and temporary accommodation. What we've done in our city is we've subcontracted these services out to private limited companies, some of which are named in the Panama Papers and are evading UK tax. Now, I just want to reveal a story. One of the things that I've done as a campaigner is really try to engage with communities. And we've set up something in Brighton and Hove called the Brighton and Hove Housing Coalition. That is an organisation of 21 non-statutory funded grassroots organisations coming together to make a difference in the community. And what I would love to see is services coming back in-house and people that have fallen to be respected. Whilst I've lived in emergency accommodation, I've seen people die. There was one guy. He was a migrant coming from Algeria, a divorced father of 2. He come here for sanctuary. He was left to die in emergency accommodation. He wanted help. In these buildings, there are no signs. If people are considering suicide, there's nothing, there's no support. And this is an issue that is happening across the country. It's time that we invested in our communities. It's time we built housing. And it's time we rectified what Maggie Thatcher did and destroyed our social housing. They promised with the right to buy, they were going to replace them. They lied. Out of every 5 that they've sold, only 1 has been replaced. We have to reverse that. 1 million homes is not good enough. We need 2 million. We need 3 million. We need 5 million homes. Thank you.
Conference, before we take the next speaker, I can allow one more speaker at this session. Can you show of hands, please? I can't see him. Please, yes, the lady there in the red jacket. You didn't.
Thank you, Conference. My name is Ruth Allcroft. I'm the delegate for Carlisle CLP. Diane and some of the other speakers up here today have talked about extreme situations facing our country. My issue is a smaller issue, but it's one that's already been alluded to earlier in the conference. It's one that Labour needs to address if we are ever going to govern successfully the whole of the country. Carlisle is a vote leave city. This was a decision made by a number of my friends, by people I know, by people I work with. For many of us here today, the journey down was a 10-hour one. We feel a long, long way from Westminster. As I walked across London to St Pancras, I noticed signs saying that work had already started on preparations for HS2. Yet up in Cumbria, we are stuck with two single carriageway roads, the A595 and the A69, to get us from one end of the county to the other. In fact, to get us from one end of the country to the other. Our Conservative MP has been promising us action on this for years, but nothing has happened. Here in the north, or up there in the north, we need investment, we need ambition, we need hope. Conference, when people in Carlisle see high-speed rail links starting in London, when we can't even get a dual carriageway, we as politicians have to remember why people voted to leave. Our situation isn't extreme, but we are in real danger of having a huge split in our country over the coming years. As politicians, our job is to scrutinise, to challenge and to lead. We are facing complex negotiations. Let us all work hard to make sure that the final outcome gives us optimism and a Britain we can be proud of. Thank you.
Well, hello, Conference. My name is Anna Smith, and I'm a City Councillor in Cambridge, and this is my first time speaking at Conference. And I'm also really proud to be in the first cohort of the Jo Cox Women in Leadership programme. Labour is in government in councils around the country, and I'm so proud to serve on Cambridge City Council, where we try our very best to serve the many, not the few, in our fantastically diverse city. I'm really proud that our council leader and deputy leader have successfully negotiated £70 million of funding to build 500 much-needed council houses in our city. I'm proud of our amazing council staff. And I'm privileged to have been out with many of our frontline teams who are unsung heroes serving our community, and I want to sing their praises here. But Conference, we have a Tory government. A government which seems hell-bent on cutting the funding local government needs to serve its community. Up and down the country, we have Labour councillors who are doing all we can to protect people from the impact of these horrendous cuts. But this cannot last forever if the Tories stay in power and continue to strangle the funding that local communities so desperately need. Conference, let's continue to take the fight to the Tories over these pernicious local government cuts. And let's continue as a united party to work for that day, which is surely not too far now, when we are in government in Westminster and when we once more have a Labour Prime Minister and we can get things done. Thank you.
Thank you. We will take more speakers this afternoon. Conference now stands adjourned until 2:15.